Okay, just a quick thought, and lest I forget, everyone, while supplies last, everyone's invited to take a copy of my new sefer, right here. Anyway, that's your Chanukah bonuses. That's all there is. Anyway, it's interesting. Chazal, they're very, very careful in what they say. And the Mishnah of us tells us, "Kol divrayim gachalei eish." All the words of Chazal are like coals, and Ramchal explains that when you blow on a coal, so it flares up, and all different colors come out. So also every word of Chazal, if you just blow on it a little bit, you'll see a lot of Talmei Torah. You see that every word was thought out. They coined the halacha of Ner Chanukah ad shetichle regel min hashuk. It's a very odd way of say until there's no more legs. Regel in the shuk. Let's just say, until know people in Rosh Hashanah, why the shuk and why raglayim. As part of the puzzle, the Rav Yosef said, about Shavuos that igla tilsa, you want to have the best meat, right? Because ilav hahu yoima kama Yosef ika beshuka. If not for Shavuos, there's a lot of people called Yosef in the marketplace. Again, the shuk. Why the shuk? Just say Kama Yosef Ika. Of course, the whole question also is, what was he really saying? Ilava Yom. What he wanted Torah, to have a profession, right? Yala Ladas, right? It's Chas v'Shalom, right? Torah, for anything other than Lishma, right? So Ilava Yom Kama Yosef Ika. And this also, he was a smart guy. He was Sinai. He was the man who knew all the Mishnayos, all the Brises. So if he would have gone into law, he would have been a good lawyer. If he would have gone into medicine, he would have been a big, good doctor. So what does it mean? Ilavu Yama Kama Yosef Ika B'Shuka, the whole thing, begs an explanation. But the idea is like this, you have to have a question of, value. What is value? Something has value, right? In the secular world, they'll tell you very simple. If there's a market for it. If there's a market, then there's value. If it's marketable. Right? So imagine could something be valuable even if there's no market for it? Be'etzem, valuable, whether people are smart enough to want it or not. And that's what we say is our Torah. The Torah is be'etzem chashuv, and that's what Chazal really mean when they say Torah is the best schira, because all other schira, right, it's only if someone's stupid enough to want it, and it could be the need is not real, and it's not very useful, but you got people mindlessly wanting it, right? And once you establish this, pseudo need, so it's marketable, right? And if no one wants it, no matter how chashuv it is, so I can say it's valueless because no one wants it, right? And Torah is chashuv be'etzem. It's dvar Hashem. Question whether you're smart enough to realize its chashivas and how it's the emes. It's what is, right? It is be'etzem valuable, right? It's not valuable because there's a market for it, right? And that's the amazing thing that Rav Yosef was saying. Right? Kama Yosef Ika B'Shuka. Torah is be'etzem valuable. If not for the Torah, you're living in a world of shuk, where it's just a matter of, can you make a market for it? Are people silly enough to want it? And even if it's be'etzem good, but if no one wants it, it's valueless because no one wants it. Right? The Torah got us out of the shuk. Right? It got us and liberated us from the market, which is a whole place of pseudo values. That what's valuable, whatever you can move. And the yesod of the market is to move the merchandise. That's also money is also called zuzim. Chazal say it's zaz, it moves. That's how the economy. And it's called the rat race. You got to keep it moving. Right? You bring your stuff to the market, and over there, that's what zvina charifa means. It's sharp, meaning it moves. Just like you bought sold, someone else wants to buy it off him, and he flips it. That's zvina charifa, right? It moves, right? Something that's valuable be'etzem doesn't need to move. You would want to hold on to it. This thing is not valuable be'etzem. You just want it as a to flip it, right? And that to flip that, and that to flip that, right? Because it's not valuable be'etzem. You just want to move it, right? It's all about movement. It's all about, right? You don't want to stick with it. You want to flip it. Right? That's the sort of the market, because the whole thing is mindless running. People assuming that something has value, and it's just like mindlessly running. the rat race. That's what it means, regel, right? The movement, right? But also, here's the thing, that, the faster something moves, the better merchandise it is. If you had to think every time you had to take a step, you wouldn't be able to run, right? The whole point of running is that you could do it without thinking, and that's why in Lashon HaKodesh, what's a habit? What you do without thought? Hergel, Lashon regel, right? You just run. You just do it without thinking, right? Like right now, even without the fraud, still fought millions of people mindlessly ran to elect a guy, who was cognitively compromised and corrupt, Beijing Biden. You just create a craze. And that's how the market works. There's a craze. People are running without thinking, right? What? What? Right. Very good. Right? It's running. It's like people, socialism's a great idea. You just, as they say, run with it. It's mindless running, but that's in the world that we live in, that's what makes something being valuable. People run with it. It moves, and generally it involves mindlessness to make it move. No rosh, just raglayim. Right? In the shuk, right? In the shuk, there aren't heads; they're only legs, right? Because it's mindless running, right? So now, where's a person really? Where his legs are, where his head is. Not everyone knows, say the Baal Shem Tov, right? Where's a person? Where his thoughts are. But you see this in halacha, right? Where do you have to be? You have to be in sukkah, yeshiva sukkah, right? Which essentially that's nogea to Chanukah, Beishamim Pochto Kneged Parei Chag. Without getting to all, but just to bring an example from sukkah, you need rosho verubo, right? Your head, your feet could be outside of sukkah, and it's called you're in sukkah because your head's there. Right? That's Rosho Verubo. Right? Shulchan is only called Gzera Shemi Mashach Achrei Shulchan. Rosho Verubo. Let's say you do it the other way around. You'll have everything up to your neck in the sukkah. So you have 99% of your guf in the sukkah, but your head is not in sukkah. You're not in sukkah. Right? Where your head is, that's where you really are. All right, the Maral says, the autumn is an upside down tree. His head is his roots. That's where he really is, and that's the side of kol mi she'ein bo das lesof golem im komo. Person without das, he's not going to keep his position because this is where your roots are. This is where you are. So you have no das, you have no anchor. So lesof golem im komo, you're going to lose your position. Right? The shuk is all about mindless running, right? And where a person really should be is where his head is. So we're here on earth in a limited amount of time, right? So even if we have to participate, in the shuk, to make a parnasa, right? But it should only be with the legs, not with the head. The head should always be, in Torah, right? Your legs should be in the marketplace, but not your head, right? Right, but the thing is, that the secular culture, which the Yavarim started, there was Hellenism, cultural war, is that, if it moves, it must be choshev. If it's marketable, it must be choshev. So if we have suckers that'll take our philosophy courses, it must be good because we could sell it, right? So Am Yisrael, we have the Shabbos and we have the Yom Tov. Right, there's a slightly different nuance between them, aside from the chilukim in the halachas, right? But the Navi says, interestingly enough, about Shabbos, im toshiv mishabbos raglecha, right? On Shabbos we rein our legs in. So it's not just the pshat. There's an isser of hotzah, mershus l'rishus, and there's isser tchumen, right? But it's toshiv. We rein the legs in. No legs on Shabbos. The world of the legs has ceased and desist. Shabbos, kol malachta suya, just like you don't go to the market, but also today where there's no distractions, the whole world of the raglayim does exist. Tashiv mishas raglecha. It's all mushbat. Yom Tov is a little bit different. Yom Tov there is aliyah l'regel. Right? Because on Yom Tov, it's only chetzio l'Hashem, it's chetzio l'Lachem, right? Ochel nefesh is mutter, right? It's 50-50, but the 50 that's ours, right? We have to elevate. So on Yom Tov it's mutter hotzah mirshus. You can walk, right? But you have to elevate. It's aliyah l'regel, right? That we come to the Beis HaMikdash, so we'll have raglayim. On Shabbos it's as if there's no raglayim. Stay where you are. It's like you have no legs, right? That's Shabbos. On Yom Tov, it's like there is raglayim, but you have to raise it up. Aliyah l'regel. So you go to Beis. So you made a few bucks. So with that, you're going to bring Shalmei Chagiga. You're going to bring an Olas Re'iyah. You have Chetz, and we're going to elevate. It's Aliyah l'regel. Elevate the raglayim. Right? And we go to the Beis Hamikdash to raise up the legs, not to bring the Beis Hamikdash down. But the Yevonim, they broke into the Beis Hamikdash. They brought their market there. Right? All their stuff that their Hellenism was moving. It was moving around the world. It was hot stuff, right? It was moving, right? And they broke into the Beis Hamikdash, and they brought that to over there where we're supposed to be above, raise up the raglayim. They brought the raglayim there. They brought it in. They broke it. Trespass entry. They broke it in. Say that our secular stuff that's all that's valuable. Torah is not valuable, right? So now when the Chashmonaim, pushed them out, and they were mitaher the heichal, and they secured our borders and built the walls. That they made 13 pirtzis and they rebuilt them and they built the walls, right? And they restored election integrity, right? But they didn't just keep it there. We're going to reverse. We're going to take the fight to them. Like this Mokum, which was shining from the Or of the menorah, which is the Or HaTorah, right? We're going to bring the fight to them. We're going to bring the Or of Torah out. Ad shetichla regel min hashuk, right? Managed to reverse the problem. They brought their secularism in, and they trespassed to where we want to get past the raglayim and past the shuk. We're going to bring the fight to them, and we're going to bring the Or to the shuk, right? And we're going to bring the Or all the way down to the raglayim. But David Melch says, "Ner l'ragli dvarecha." Right, that even the legs in the market are not going to run mindlessly. They'll be guided by the light of Ner Mitzvah, which is Besod Ner Chanukah. All right, and that's what we do here at Harbor View Capital. Right, we bring the Or HaTorah into the shuk and down to our glayim that will not. Even if we have to go and run with it. Right, but we're never going to lose sight of the Or HaTorah that will guide us. That it should never be running mindlessly and detached. Chas v'sholom from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Right. Licht Chanukah, everybody.